Join the Women's Land Army today and make sure this country doesn't go short of food. You'll find it such a healthy, satisfying job too, working among growing things, seeing crops ripen and animals thrive. The countryside's a friendly place ready to welcome you.
I don't think we gave a thought before the war about where our food came from. It turns out the answer was abroad. A lot of what we eat, meat, grain and fruit, as well as other goods, and things we build with, like timber, were imported from the Empire across the world. They arrived here on ships that are now needed for the war effort, and are targeted by German U-boat submarines. So what's the answer? We having to fend for ourselves and grow as many crops as we can? I'm doing my own little bit by growing vegetables on our Anderson shelter and helping Maggie with her allotment. They've also dug up the local park, the railway embankments and the roadside verges to plant vegetables. But that's only going to help so far, and it doesn't mean fresh vegetables every day of the year. My cousin Betty has been telling me about all the changes in the countryside. They've got a farm in Suffolk, you see.
I hope you're keeping safe in London. We heard on the wireless that the bombings have been terrible. No such excitement here in Suffolk. Apart from Mrs. Smith's pig escaping and racing through the village like it was the Grand National. It's nice to have the Langos here helping on the farm. Some are local lasses, but many have come from big cities to help out. The government wants us to produce more and more crops, so we're all glad with the help. But would you believe it? Some have never seen a cow up close before. You should have seen poor Peggy from Manchester when she tried to get Daisy, one of our Frisian cows, out the barn. She just flicked Peggy in the face with her tail. We had to pull Peggy out of the haystack she fell into. I suppose city girls don't get much practice milking cows, do they?
I wrote back to Betty to say that as well as dodging bombs, we're also busy dodging dried egg. It's meant to help pad out the rations, but I swear it's never seen a chicken. Betty's lucky. Surrounded by chickens and cows, she gets the real thing. Fresh milk and eggs every day. I bet that cheers up the Langos, who Betty seemed to find hilarious. Her letters do make me laugh.
Dear George, the Langos had another mishap yesterday. They were supposed to be cleaning out the pigs, but Edna from Birmingham tripped and ended up face first in a pile of poo. The pigs just looked at her as if to say, "Clumsy clot." And their squealing did sound a bit like laughing. And remember that toy truck you got William for Christmas? The Ford and Major? Let me tell you all about it. The real thing. What a glorious beast.
Isn't she? Not sure the chickens are going to like that racket. It'll stop them laying. Let's get the land girls to move them. Hey, Peggy, when you and Edna are finished with the pigs, can you help move the coop?
I think they'll all be glad to be out of the pigsty. Edna's on her second set of overalls, and it's not even 11 C's. Hey, we could ask the scouts to lend a hand too. They've been helping fell trees on Mrs. Stevens' plot with the Women's Timber Corps.
That's good thinking. This tractor, though, it's going to mean we can do so much more and quicker. Tilling the fields will be so much easier.
And moving the grain and feed around. Although, I think Grandpa's going to miss working the horses.
Well, tractors don't need feeding and don't get tired. Animals take second place to crops now, and tractors will help us get there.
I wrote back and I said I love to see and drive the tractor. Hardly anyone would be relying on horses by the end of the war. Can you imagine? In 1939, there were 56,000 tractors here in Britain. Now, whilst that sounds a lot, by the end of the war, there were over 200,000. I've been hearing from Robbie too. He ended up evacuated to Hampshire after nearly getting on the wrong train. He's having a marvellous time by the sound of it.
I finally made it down to Alresford, and I have to say, Hampshire is super fun. The local river is jam full of trout. We just wade in and grab them with our hands. They grow a rather interesting crop here. It's called watercress. It's like salad that grows in water. Sort of peppery, but makes a very tasty soup. I've helped the local farmers harvest it and carry it to the railway station. Oh, and I've been helping the scouts gather moss. It's called sphagnum, and they use it on the front line for dressing wounds. There's plenty growing around the wetlands. I'm getting muscles on my muscles with all the work.
And all I do is queue for the rations. Although, as I mentioned, I do my bit with some planting on the Anderson and the allotments, but I don't need a tractor or muscles for that. I bet those land girls will be going back to the cities with arms like Popeye.
Dear George, Peggy and Edna are getting into the swing of things now and had another brilliant idea. They decided to have a competition to see who can kill the most rabbits. Our mum says rabbits are pests, but Dad says they make a tasty shoe, so it's a good idea all round. Anyway, they were so determined, they invented an ingenious trap. But the only thing it's caught so far is Miss Thompson's cat. She was alright, but Miss Thompson took a very dim view.
And people think the countryside is peaceful. We were determined to be able to feed ourselves and not rely on ships bringing us basic things like grain and fruit. The Women's Land Army was set up in 1939 to help out in the countryside. And by George they did. By 1943, there were over 80,000 girls helping with the extra 4 million acres that had been ploughed up for the farms, along with all of those new tractors helping us put our shoulder to the wheel. And as for Edna and Peggy's rabbit traps, it sounds funny, but catching vermin was really important to protect the precious crops. There was a newspaper article on 4 girls in North Wales who killed 7,689 rats, 1,668 foxes, 1,901 moles, and 35,545 rabbits in 14 months. Quite the fearsome forces on the furry front line.
Next time, the Blitz kids notice how many everyday roles are being done by women, including their female relatives, now that many men have been called up.
Blitz Kids, an inspiring audio production for fun kids, created with support from the National Lottery Heritage Fund. Find out more at funkidslive.com/blitz.